Hey, what's going on, guys? What's happening? YouTube, you guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. Today is Friday, January 6th, 2023. Yesterday was somewhat of a slow news day, so today's video should be pretty quick. We should be able to move through this one in just a few minutes. You guys aren't going to hear me rant and ramble for 30 minutes today. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Markets closed down yesterday. The job market seems to be staying stronger than the Fed would like. U.S. jobless claims fell to a 14-week low. We do have some more layoffs, and one thing that we're seeing is, the jobs that we're losing are good, skilled, high-paying jobs. The jobs that we're gaining are part-time, low-wage, dead-end jobs. So not looking good there. We're hearing that 30% of realtors could quit in this housing downturn. We have a recent study from Uhaul about where most of the moving trucks are coming from, which states people are leaving and which states people are moving to. So much stuff to talk about today, but again, today's video should be a pretty short one. Lately at the beginning of some of these videos, I've been giving you guys some recommendations for television shows, YouTube channels, movies, documentaries. This one, I wouldn't say it's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen by any means, but if you got nothing to watch, you're kind of out of things to watch, and you're looking for something mildly interesting, there's a little, maybe 1 hour, hour and 20-minute documentary on Netflix, and it's called Untold Crime and Penalties. It's about a Connecticut mobster who bought a semi-pro hockey team for his 17-year-old son. He ultimately wound up going to prison. He and his son lost the team. And then he kind of gets out of prison, has a reunion with the hockey team. Somewhat of an interesting story, so that might be worth checking out. And then one other recommendation for you guys. If any of you guys are into firearms, if you're looking for a fun, cheap gun, everybody online has been going nuts about, I was going to say new, I don't think it's a new gun, I think they've been around for a while, but lately everybody has been going nuts for these TISAS 1911, TISAS. They have various different models, but you can pick up a pretty solid 1911 for definitely under $300. I've seen them for $260, $269. Even with shipping and FFL, you should be able to find yourself a deal under $300. And if you want kind of a decked out model, you can find chrome ones and ones with better sights and things like that. But if you are looking for just a fun, cheap gun, check out the TISAS 1911. I got a couple buddies that are always sending me deals, but there's a subreddit called Gun Deals, and you can always find great deals on there. People are posting deals every day. Without further ado, let's get into today's news. So yesterday, markets closed down. This is a trend that we're seeing. We're seeing lower highs and lower lows. We'll have a couple down days and then an up day, then a couple more down days and an up day, but the down days are down more than the up days are up. Yesterday, the Dow closed down 339 points. The NASDAQ closed down 153 points. The S&P 500 closed down about 1%. And crypto is just still kind of holding steady. One day we're up 1%, the next day we're down 1%. But overall, things aren't moving too much. So we've talked extensively about how the Fed wants to kill wages, the Fed wants to kill jobs. U.S. jobless claims recently came out, and they've fallen to a 14-week low, which is the exact opposite of what the Fed wants. Again, we're adding jobs, but the jobs we're adding are part-time jobs, low-paying jobs, dead-end jobs. The jobs that we're losing are skilled jobs, manufacturing jobs. Even though manufacturing may not be like a super, super high-paying job, it surely pays better than hospitality and service sector industry. It's typically a full-time job. You're going to get 40 hours a week. You're going to get benefits. So in that sense, these are solid jobs that we're losing. We also continue to lose a lot of tech jobs, a lot of mortgage jobs, a lot of real estate jobs. Compass just completed their third round of layoffs for the year. I touched on this one yesterday, but Amazon laid off 18,000 people, much more than initially expected. Tesla had some layoffs recently, not a huge number of people, but laid off like 40 engineers. The Indy Star, the newspaper, closing printing presses and laying off employees, and media across the board is pretty much struggling. Crypto company Genesis is laying off 30% of their workers, and the clothing store Stitch Fitch is also laying off workers. Speaking of jobs and job losses, I thought this was an interesting stat. So A real estate organization recently came out and said that we could lose 30% of realtors during this current and upcoming housing downturn. A lot of realtors are part-time. Less than half of realtors are full-time realtors. And I thought this was kind of interesting. I saw a Twitter post today, and this kind of highlights how much real estate agents are struggling. There was a Twitter post from a realtor. He has a 2020 Mercedes-Benz G550 4MATIC, a G-Wagon, and he's looking for somebody to take over the lease. He wants the down payment back and $2,800 a month. In yesterday's video, we talked about how, 15% of people who bought a new car, or not even bought a new car, 15% of people who bought a car in 2022 have a car payment of over $1,000. With inflation kind of eating away at people's budgets, with gas prices rising even more in 2023, people are maxed out, people are tapped out, and maybe that car payment somebody could afford a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, they can't afford today, and that's before the mass layoffs even start in 2023. But I thought that was an interesting post. Real estate agent trying to unload this car for $2,800 a month. Uhaul recently put out a study. They said more Uhaul trucks left California than any other state in 2022. And it's kind of funny, online, on social media, everybody loves to talk stuff. I'm having to kind of measure my speech here. Normally I would say, swear words, but we know about the new YouTube policy. So more U-Haul trucks have left California than any other state. People are always talking trash. We'll say trash instead of the other word. People are always talking trash about Florida and Texas. But there must be a reason why everybody wants to move there. According to this U-Haul study, the state with the most people moving there was the state of Texas. Number 2 with Florida. Number 3, South Carolina. Number 4, North Carolina. 5, Virginia, then Tennessee, then Arizona, then Georgia, and then Ohio. I can't talk. Those are the states that saw the most growth. The states that saw the biggest exodus are California. I was kind of surprised by this one. My home state of Illinois. Number 3 was Michigan. Number 4 was Massachusetts. And number 5 was New York. And again, I've kind of talked about this a number of times. The states that took the Mexican beer cough the most seriously, the states that trampled on their citizens' freedom the most, these are the states that saw the most people leave over the past couple years. The states that were the freest around the time of the Mexican beer cough are the states that are seeing an influx of people moving there. And the states whose economies have recovered the worst also tend to be the states who were the strictest during the Mexican beer cough. I was kind of surprised to see that Ohio was gaining people. A lot of people say, oh, nobody wants to live in the Midwest. There's not a lot of great jobs. The weather kind of sucks. There's nothing too exciting. But people are flowing into Ohio, but people are leaving Michigan. Ohio and Michigan, very similar states. But if we look at Ohio, Ohio had almost no restrictions during the beer cough, whereas Michigan, Whitmer had a very heavy hand in, kind of what how she managed the crisis. This is just kind of an interesting observation. I've been seeing Uber pre-roll ads on YouTube recently, and I've noticed how they've changed the way that they're advertising to people. So a year ago, 2 years ago, a couple years ago, the Uber ads were highlighting people who did Uber full-time. I love driving Uber full-time. I can drop my kid off at school and pick him up at the end of the day. I have the flexibility to work when I want, where I want, and how I want. I love driving for Uber. I'm making money. And the Uber pre-roll ads I'm seeing today are much more geared towards part-time drivers. Driving for Uber is a great way to, pay the rent if you're short on rent at the end of the month. If you're saving up for a vacation and you want to kind of speed up the process of saving up for this vacation, Uber can be a fun thing to do in your spare time. So they're no longer touting Uber as a great full-time job to have, something to make a career out of. They've kind of switched it to what I think Uber started out as, and I think what Uber is really intended to be, which is something to fill the gap, not something that you rely on for a full-time income. A little bit of crypto news. The Celsius co-founder Alex Machensky is being sued by the New York Attorney General for defrauding investors. Here's a quote kind of about the story. Alex Machensky lied to people about the risks of investing in Celsius. hid its deteriorating financial condition and failed to register in New York. Machinsky tricked hardworking people into investing their life savings into Celsius, promising big financial returns and claiming the platform was safer than a bank. Instead, Celsius collapsed and New Yorkers were left in financial ruin. Let's see. Two more interesting stories. So, Chat GPT is in talks with investors. They're valuating themselves at around $29 billion, which would make it one of the most valuable tech stocks around. We've talked about Chat GPT. If you haven't checked it out, Google it, check it out. If you need to write an article, if you want to write a rap song, if you want to write a poem, if you want to ask a question, Chat GPT, it's just kind of a fun tool to play around with. And in the last piece of news for the day, some more crypto news. Shopify stores can now sell Avalanche NFTs. But again, we're wrapping this one up in about 10 minutes. Not a ton of news yesterday, not a ton of exciting stuff going on. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts, comments, and opinions, so go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell. And if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.